Hello again, it's Cornelia with Maze Mechanical. This video is going to be about what it takes to stay ahead of market trends. Basically, some of the toughest aspects of owning your own business is projecting day to day and month to month, year to year. Basically, doing what it takes to stay in business and understanding how to keep revenue coming in, right? So, I guess, uh, first of all, congratulations on starting your own business. Now comes the fun part, right? You got to figure out how to stay in business, which is it's not as difficult as it would you would think it would be. My advice is just don't overthink it. You know you have a good product. You're the product. You're an awesome tech. You can fix anything. You can install stuff. You do a really high quality work. Everything you install, it works really great, and you don't have a lot of callbacks. So that's your product. You have a refined process to where you give the highest quality installs, and that is, you know, 90% of what you need to do. But the difficult part, that last bit, the sustainable part, is how do you analyze how to stay in business? Like what are the keys to success in that regard? So again, congratulations on owning your own business. Um, One of the most critical things you have to do now as a business owner is you have to project your cost, right? So for me, every year I know come January 1st, I know there's a set amount of money that I'm going to have to pay that year in regards to overhead, right? And I won't get too far into that, but I just want anybody who's watching these videos, this series of videos that I'm making for the new entrants into the workforce and small business owners that are looking for a step up, right? What what you need to understand is that to be a legitimate business owner. So, and what I mean by legitimate is that you're going to have all your aspects covered. You're going to be licensed, insured. You're going to have a solid reputation. You're just going to do everything the correct way to cover all your bases, right? And going back to projecting your yearly costs. So you know you need insurance on your vehicle, you need insurance for your business, commercial insurance if it comes to that. You need a training budget, licensing budget, advertising budget if you're going to do that. You need tools. There's just so many different things, and I've estimated before that at the beginning of the year, January 1st, I am $75,000 in debt right now, just with just overhead, and that doesn't include employee benefits, compensation packages, bonuses, things like that. $75,000 for just insurances, license, training, tools, car payments, just everything that we need, maintenance, all of that stuff. 75 to $100,000 is what I need to make, and that should be reflected in your analysis for when you're doing your price projecting. Like how do I decide what it is that I'm going to charge for my product and services? Well, if you understand that you have basically, $1,500 a week or so that you have to pay in expenses, and that's not accounting for your profit or anything, that should give you some insight in what you should be charging, how much money you should be generating. So you would also want to project your profit goals and your growth goals, but that's a more personal conversation for yourself, where you want to think like, how big do I want to get, or how much money do I want to make, how much do I want to pay myself. There's an adage where if you when you think about your pricing, you don't want to charge as much as the other companies. If you're right in the middle, in my opinion, you should be good. But there's an adage that if you don't want to be as busy, charge more, right? Because you as long as you have a high quality product and you're closer to the a little bit above average pricing, you might not win as many calls, but you will definitely still be able to do high quality work and have enough revenue coming in to sustain your company. So One of the toughest lessons that I learned was, and this is a tough lesson, but you understand that you'll run into a lot of people in this industry that will say like, hey, I can keep you busy, just give me a discount, right? And it's very tempting. You're thinking, well, this person says they can have 10, 15 jobs this year, or 20, 30 jobs this year, and I just got to give them a discount. But the problem is that you're busy but you're not making money. You're 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 not profitable on any of that stuff. Sure, you're busy, but busy isn't profitable. Busy isn't always profitable. So when I said that sometimes if you want to be less busy, maybe charge more, you won't win as many jobs. You won't have as many, you know, house flippers and things like that that want to utilize your services, but you're also not going to go broke chasing these ideas. It's a painful thing to learn that oftentimes when people find something that they're good at and they understand how to make money in their particular field, they tend to get addicted to it, to where when they, like contractor to contractor, GCs, house flippers, sometimes they will try to take advantage of you because the less money they pay you is the more money that they make, right? And it's very tempting to want to have those relationships, or maybe you feel like, I need those things. But a better approach, in my opinion, would be to find bigger companies to subcontract for, because at least they understand what you're going through. And if you find a good, reputable, bigger company, there's a lot of energy firms out there these days that will actually, they'll sell the product, they act as GCs, but they know that you are a key role player in what they're trying to do, and they should endeavor to take care of you. So never sell yourself short, and negotiate, but just understand that sometimes entities will attempt to take advantage of you. But that being said, if you understand that we're running a business, you're going to have to generate $50,000 to $75,000 January 1st. You got those bills coming, right? So how do you stay ahead and stay profitable? For me, I can tell you that understanding where the market's going, the trends. I know we have refrigerant changes that happen and things like that, but one of the biggest trends on the horizon that we're right in the midst of right now as well is heat pumps, right? Heat pump technology, electrification initiatives, things like that. We can resist all we want, but it's here to stay. And my advice to you is get in those classes. You're better off knowing, you're better off learning how these things work, and to network with the implementers, the Xcel Energies and Colorado Energy offices, because they're the ones that are going to basically set the market tone, so to speak, where everything's going to start trending towards electrification and heat pumps, especially here in Colorado. If you notice, go Nuggets, right? I have the Nuggets shirt on. This mainly applies to the Colorado market, but there's other markets where it's trending that way as well. But as a small business owner, again, congratulations, you just started your own business. But how do you stay ahead and stay profitable? Get with the times, understand where everything's going. Make sure and I'll help you with understanding the process of getting licensed, getting certified for all of these initiatives, like getting listed with Excel and all that stuff. Those will be in future videos. But for now, it's just, understand that your pricing is set based on your overhead and the amount of profit that you want to have, and how busy you want to be. So we'll elaborate further on those things, but I just want to make sure that it's in your mind that staying ahead of market trends is basically understanding where the market is going, where the industry is going, so to speak, and then how do you get ahead of that? So for me, it was taking every heat pump training class back starting 2022, 23, and now that the rebates are so um, getting a lot more prevalent, it's a lot easier to sell them because I have a solid foundation of these devices. So, I hope that helps. I'll try to elaborate further on market analysis from a small business owner perspective, but I'm always open to comments and our questions, because it only helps us get better. So, I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. So if you have any questions, please let me know.